When I was 24, I used to work at a retirement home at the front desk. I worked night shift, and I hated the night shift for obvious reasons. But it was money, and it was decent money for my age. This one night was going like any ordinary night. It was quiet. I was at the desk, answering emails, doing paperwork. All was going well. Then I heard footsteps. Heavy footsteps. That of a man. Now I heard the footsteps near the hallway to my left. But where the hallway was in relation to my desk, I had to get up in order to see down the hallway. So I got up and I poked my head around the corner. Nothing. No one. I got up and ran down the hallway, hoping to find someone. And as I got to the end of the hallway, I looked to my right, down another hallway. No one. But I still heard the footsteps. And as I ran down that hallway, I turned the corner. And around the corner, at the other end, I saw a man in a trench coat, a long black trench coat, with an old school hat on. The only way I could describe his outfit was like a 1920s mobster. It was strange. He was a man, but I could see through him at the same time. Then I watched him disappear behind the corner. I immediately called my manager and told her what happened. She told me to go back to my desk and give her and the police a call if I saw him again. I went back to my desk, thoroughly freaked out, and couldn't even focus on my work, listening for the footsteps. But they never came, and I never saw him again. This happened to me when I was 26. I worked night shift at the hospital I was working at the time. I didn't mind the night shift, believe it or not. I loved my job, and it didn't matter to me what time of day I did it. This particular night was like any other night, I guess. Came in, said hello to all my co-workers, and got to work. This happened around midnight. I was making my rounds, checking on all my patients. And as I walked by one particular room, I saw an elderly man sleeping. I didn't think anything of it. So I go on, and about 15 minutes later, I pass his room again, and he's banging his head against his pillow now. The only way I could describe it is like the scene in The Exorcist when Regan is violently banging her head against her pillow. Except it wasn't that intense, but that's what it reminded me of. I rushed in his room and tried to get him to stop. He was in some sort of trance, almost. After a while, he finally did stop. He must have gotten tired. He looked at me and closed his eyes and immediately went back to bed. This was weird, but I didn't know if he was on any medication or not. Not that I knew of, at least. So I went back to the desk down the hallway, sat down, and started doing my paperwork for the night. I must have been there at least 15 or 20 minutes, because I remember almost dozing off. I was so tired. And then I hear a shuffling down the hallway. I look up in the direction of the man's room, and I see him slowly shuffling out of his room. He then stops outside of his room and looks up at me. He smiles and slowly points his finger at me. His shaking finger. This must have went on for at least a minute or two. I was freaked out. It was disturbing. The look this old man was giving me was like anything I've ever seen before. So I got up and rushed to him, thinking he probably needed help. But before I could even get to him, he slowly shuffled back into his bedroom. And by the time I got there, he was already in bed, asleep. It was impossible. He must have moved unnaturally quick. This is one of the strangest things that's ever happened to me on the night shift. This was 18 years ago, and I still work at that hospital today. This happened to me back in 2008. At the time, I was working as customer service on the night shift for a major appliance company. This night was going well. I always liked the night shift. I didn't mind my job. I mean, it wasn't the best, but I liked my coworkers a lot. So this night, I was answering calls, answering emails, and then I decided to go down into the break room to get a coffee and something to eat. Now, our break room was on the first floor, and our office was on the second. So I head down, get in the elevator. As I get down to the first floor, I hear a clicking sound and a suckling sound at the same time. It was bizarre, and it was honestly an unnatural sound. I'd never heard those two sounds together at the same time like that. So I decided to go investigate. And I walk down the hallway and check every room to my left and to my right. I checked all the rooms with nothing. All that was left was one last room at the end of the hallway. And I realized that I never even really knew this room existed until now. The sound was still going on, and I knew it was coming from that room. I could have just ran back up to the office and pretended it never happened. But I had to see. I had to see who it was or what it was. I had to know. So as I slowly start to walk down the hallway, the sound is getting louder. Now I know it's coming from this room, and I know what I have to do. And as I get to the door, I open it slowly. I scan the room, but it's dark. But there's enough light seeping in from the hallway that I could see something in the far left corner. It looked like a person standing there, the shape at least, but with a blanket or a sheet of some sorts over them. This disturbed me, and I contemplated once again just slamming the door and running out of the building. But something in me told me to go investigate. So I turned the flashlight on my phone, which wasn't that well. The flashlights on the phones back then weren't like they are now. And I slowly entered the room, one foot in front of the other. As I get closer, I realize that whatever this is, or whoever this is, isn't moving. I slowly approached it, and as I got to the figure, I reached my shaking hand up to it and quickly pulled the sheet off. It was a stack of fucking boxes. Assholes. Somebody played a trick on me. I couldn't believe it. I felt stupid, but relieved. So I walk out, I slam the door, and I go back up to the office. I quit 4 months later. I don't know why.